Okay, everyone, so I'm checking out a guy called Hades Airsoft. This guy has done a video, VFC Umarex UMP45 gas blowback review. Oh, if I actually click on the right thing. Gas blowback review by a British Army veteran. So when he said a British Army veteran, had me there. I kind of want to watch what his opinion are. Also, VFC, I love their gas blowbacks, and the UMP45 has always been one I've been kind of interested in. It's kind of like a, you know, it's the SMG compact little like replica that I don't love the look of 100%. I prefer like an MP5 or other variations of different, you know, like an MP9, maybe the GHM9. I kind of prefer like all of these different ones, MPX for sure. So let's have a look at this video. It looks like he's got 3,000 views in 6 days, so I'm hoping it's gonna be pretty good, and I'm pretty excited just to see what his thoughts are on this, because I've heard mixed stuff.
Hello troops, welcome back to the
Looks
channel.
like it's got a kick
It's
to
Dan
it.
from Hades Airsoft. It's time for another riff review. This time we are putting the gas blowback UMP45 from VFC through its paces.
VFC is just super snappy generally. Like the trigger brakes are just so nice. I mean, that looks pretty great.
Right, troops, so before we get started with the unboxing, if you haven't done so already and you're liking what you're seeing on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, okay? I know you're probably sick and tired of hearing it. I know I am, but it really does help. And obviously the channel's growing and we need it to continue growing to be able to do more exciting things. All right, so Marcos over there, okay, he has very kindly lent us his VFC UMP45 for the day, okay? And it means we don't have to buy one, so thank you very much, Marcos. It's not a traditional unboxing because we don't have the box to look at all.
Well, it's a pretty cool case he's got it in
but
there.
it is as standard, okay? So we're gonna bust it out of this hard case here, walk through the characteristics of it.
So it's got like a corporal.
We'll take it out, we'll do some range testing, and then if the wind lets up, we will do a little bit of a shooting range challenge between the three of us to finish off with. So, unboxing.
Slip.
Now, I've only really got my hands on this about 10 minutes ago. Made by VFC, okay, under license from HK. It's got all of the markings.
It's very G36 looking,
from one
isn't
of
it?
these kind of licensing
That
deals.
same
It
fire
is a
selector,
polymer
same
riff,
stock.
okay, but obviously the bolt is metal, super light, absolutely super light. I'm going to look up the actual weight and we'll probably put that down on screen, but super light. So let's look at let's go from butt to barrel. Okay, that's a new thing. We're going to just trademark that. Okay, we'll go from butt to barrel and we'll talk about a few things about the actual riff itself.
Butt to tip
so
from
price-wise, starting off, Marcos just told me how much it was, and I nearly fell over. €200, between 200 and 250 euros. Now that obviously depends, troops, where you are in the world.
I was saying, let's have a look at it after this video.
The rest of it, but for 200 euros, that's as much as I paid for that Glock that I reviewed a few months ago. That's crazy money, so cheap. Obviously the magazines are about 50 euros a pop, but you know, par for the course when it comes to gas blowback. But still, we'll get onto the magazine in a minute, but I like that. It's a kind of a sturdy design. So with the buttstock itself, we've got a kind of skeleton design.
G36.
Really, it's super comfortable in the shoulder because it's got this kind of angle. It's almost like an AK buttstock. And AKs famously are very comfortable to bring up
G36
to that
really,
firing position. And it is a folding buttstock, so we've got this little button here, okay?
An H&K.
Without breaking it, that'll be fun. There we go. All right, and then we fold it over. Yeah, there's not really a lock. You just kind of have to lift the buttstock up and it kind of clicks in. Now, I've been told by Marcos we shouldn't fire it like this, okay? Because obviously the bolt is going backwards and forwards in there, and it's obviously going to be putting some stress on this part of the body here. So we're not going to do that today. And to be honest, troops, I don't think I really would. I think the replica is pretty compact as it is to be firing like this, okay? But
is that like a known thing that they go wrong from that?
Or if you were indeed in a pinch,
that back
fantastic.
plate.
And then
I feel like the stock wouldn't give a huge amount of support there.
Trigger guard is very big, very, very big, but that's good because when you've got gloves on, you want to be able to have a lot of freedom of movement in and around that trigger, okay? So really appreciative of that big trigger guard.
He speaks very much like a UK Forces guy.
Fire control switch there. The magazine, now this holds 20 BBs, and that's probably one of its kind of down points, but 20 rounds, still
he's
enough
giving
to
a briefing.
So really square magazine, real sturdy as well. It is still polymer, and apparently there are some metal ones available, but that's a sturdy mag. Right, so the bolt. Now, what we would say is Marcos had to 3D print this because it has already broken off. You know, for Marcos, the owner, that is probably something
annoying.
negative, that the riff is fairly new and that cocking handle has broken off. But because he's a wizard with 3D printing, he's just printed a new one.
Yeah, it's not hard to do that for sure.
I'm not going to slap it down like that because I've been told by Marcos not to do that. That metal bolt,
That might be what broke,
You
yeah.
can see there the difference between the metal and the plastic. I'm trying
If you
to
like
find
a 200
a
euros,
negative,
just
and
do
I don't
it.
immediately
Break
find
it,
one,
you break
troops,
it.
if I'm being honest. Aside from that cocking handle, but again, that is something that has happened to Marcos. It hasn't happened to me. Let's get it on the test range first before we do anything else. Let's get after it. So we've got the target set up at intervals of 5 meters.
It's a cool
Loading up.
training zone. Some pretty great graffiti.
Making ready.
So you can hook it, presumably, like he did. Oh, he kicks like a mule. I almost would buy one of these over a G36, I feel like. Just a little bit different.
Perfect. 15 rounds on the dot. Let's go and check
It's a
out the
15-round mag.
scores on the doors. What I will say before we actually get on the targets themselves, because of that sight picture, I found it so easy. I don't know whether this is going to be a good shoot.
I was going to say, don't
but
big
I found it
yourself
so
up too
easy
early.
to keep my point of aim kind of true. Obviously, with the recoil, that's going to move around a little bit. But yeah, we'll see what the scores are like. So I don't want to say, oh yeah, you know, I really found it easy to aim with, and then have a terrible shoot. That's a good group. It's obviously slightly lower than we'd like,
So those ones aren't.
but that's a good group.
Looks like those ones on the edges. I was like, okay.
Same kind of detail here, troops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the thing with these groups, troops, is you might say, hey, look, that's not exactly where we want it to be. But actually, because it's fairly tight, all we then need to work on is bringing it left and bringing it up. Centre of mass at the 15 metre point, okay, it's snaking upwards slightly, and then we've got one here on the right, but my best group has been at the longest distance. That's crazy. Right, troops, so for the shooting range challenge today, we're going to do something slightly different. If you go back and watch the Glock video, we'll put it on screen, that was based on a mixture of precision and time. Because this platform is a CQB platform, I don't really want to get amongst like running in between cones and all the stuff we did on the last video. I want something a lot smoother, a lot more deliberate. So it's basically a case of going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Moving down range, we're not running.
Got a mix of camo on it.
We want the weapon in low ready. Get here, same detail.
Marpack
left
desert.
to right, right to left. I don't really mind. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. From this point, we're going to move over to this cone
like
here.
M81.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're going to have to reload
British.
at some point. Okay, when that happens, who knows? Stand by. Go.
So who's doing this shooting? Like you want to have the stock lower. Maybe it's hard to get that sight picture. Sling not in the way. That was weird. It's got like re-bolt lock. What camera is he using there on the looking backwards? Just someone filming it. That's so weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Seems pretty
The
windy as
scoring
well.
system for the range challenge is as follows. 1 point for every impact on the paper target and 5 points for every centre of mass impact on the metal targets.
Stand by. Go.
Take a bit more time with it. So he's got a lot more matching camera on there. Multicam, multicam, multicam. I don't know what that camera is. Is someone just holding it up in front of his face? Because there's nothing like mounted on the top there. Getting those straight mags in and out must be a bit more difficult than like an MP5. Like that. I would definitely do the like pull to open, then slap it shut after you put the mag in. Instead of doing the bolt release, like recock.
Yep. Stand by, go. Stand by. Go.
See the wind. Hear a lot more clanks going on this one. Yeah, it's also quite hard to tell which ways the mags are facing. Like you don't have that curve like you do with an MP5 mag or with an M4 AR. Stab Solutions. Switch to his pistol. It's not allowed.
Yeah, that was fun. We're going to add up the scores. Me and Carlos were either drawing or one of us is going to inch ahead. But really, to be honest, the scores, we will add them up, but it's not really the point of what we're doing here. I did have to find my point of aim. I had to place the crosshair, so to speak, like the front sight, on the top edge of the metal target, because that's why my first few shots weren't hitting the metal target. But it's just a question of getting to know it. But it's, I mean, Carlos just said the same thing in Spanish, obviously. It's so easy to aim. Like
in Spanish,
that's like
obviously.
one of the best rounds of shooting that I've ever had in Airsoft. Like, it's so ergonomic. I've known it for a couple of hours and it feels so intuitive, and it, you know, a nice little CQB, you know, CQB, all right, we're not inside buildings or whatever, but, you know, a nice compact range. It seems like a cheat code. It seems like it's
I like
crazy.
his
It's really
patch
good.
on his front.
The only
Hades
negative,
Airsoft, like.
and it happened to Marcos, but it didn't happen to Carlos, was that when I had my second stoppage, i.e., well, what I thought was that second magazine emptying, it was in fact a stoppage, i.e. An interruption, a jam, because the bolt was all the way back, but there was still a round in the magazine. Now, because I don't know the riff and I didn't want to do any crazy weapon handling and break it, that's why I transitioned to pistol. But we thought we were going to have to transition to pistol more than we thought, but actually, I think we were fitting 22, 23 rounds perhaps in these magazines, which is why the other lads didn't have to transition to their pistol at all. Let's add these up.
But it's 22, 23 rounds. What should it be taking?
Between me and
it's
Carlos.
like a 30 round mag? I feel like an SMG, I'd want it to be like 35 plus.
I kind of want to win, but I also kind of want Carlos to win, so we'll see.
Why? You need to win.
9. There's one there, but I'm not sure. We'll leave it off. 9. Benefit of the doubt for the men. Right, it's a draw. It's a draw. We'll leave it as a draw. See, troops, I could count that other impact, but I think it's a bit wafty. And actually, I'd much prefer that... He's got a smile on his face. You can't see now because he's behind the camera, but he's got a smile on his face there. That's a draw for me and Carlos. Okay, so we had 32 impacts on the metal and 11 each on the paper. Marcos, I think, had 18 on the metal and en papel. ¿Te acuerdas? A certain amount on the paper. We can check it afterwards. But really, troops, end of the day, it's not about winning or losing. It's just about having a good time here with people, here on the range, getting some rounds down. Let's stand by and let's give this our final verdicts, because there are a couple of little negatives, okay, with that
Let's
kind of
find
stoppage
out.
there, but it could be, as Marcos just said, could be the fact that he doesn't normally fire this riff so much in such a short space of time. You know, we've just done 3 rounds of the range pretty quickly, so could be that. It's gas at the end of the day, troops. It could be that there's not enough gas in the magazine, there's too much gas in the magazine, the weather, whatever. Right, Block Tactical, remember troops, this is the only iPro that I'm using. Okay, with that discount, HAD10, HAD10. If you're here in the Canary Islands, that's going to cover your shipping.
Oh, he's in the Canary Islands.
If you're somewhere else in the world, that 10% off is probably going to help you out with the shipping as well. No fog, just a better game, more fun, better results. Don't be late to the party. Get amongst it. Get yourself some blocks. All right, link on the website on the bottom of the screen. That discount code, HAD10, 10% off. Look at this over here. The wind has taken down our range completely. That's why we had to sort of rush through this video a little bit in some aspects. We're going to test out the automatic feature and the 2-round burst.
So it's got a burst selector.
So I'm not going to go too far away because of the wind, okay? We'll start off with automatic.
That looks fun. Good rate of fire.
That really hits hard. Like you can really feel that in the cheek and in the shoulder. Like it's really, yeah, that's good. And it seems fairly accurate. I mean, any automatic fire troops is never going to be as accurate as single shots, okay, deliberate fire. Let's try this 2-round burst, which I'm really excited by. Right, troops, all I'm doing now, I'm firing into that doorway near where that smiley face is, just because there's a bit more distance and it's in the shadow, so I can see the spread. Okay. The 2-round burst, it's a little bit variable. Sometimes those 2 rounds are actually fairly close together. And that's exactly what you want out of a burst, isn't it? The fact that they are sticking together and not dispersing too much. Although on some of them they did open up a little bit, and on automatic as well. We did see a little bit of variation there. But troops, it's recoil, it's gas BB, gas blowback, sorry. Right, so final review, troops. I think for the price,
yeah, $200.
This replica, UMP45
worth it just to not even if it works.
VFC is almost like a cheat code. 250 euros, a really, really cheap price point.
That's why he's doing it in euros as well. It's Canary Islands.
Not once was I
very confused.
watching the flight
also, that
of the BB to correct
background did not look like the UK
shooting.
particularly.
At all times, I was looking through the sights. I think the build of the replica makes it just so easy for you to do that there's no other option. I don't know if that makes sense. It just feels like it's not like an MWS or something else or an MP5 where you can just lift your head up and see where the BBs are flying. Doesn't mean I wouldn't do that in a game situation, but at every point I've looked down the barrel, looked down through the sights, and had a really good shoot, as did Carlos, as did Marcos as well, to be fair. So troops, I think for the price, the UMP45, it's a no-brainer. That is about it for today's video. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you again to Marcos as well for lending us this replica. Carlos as well behind the camera, putting a shift in. Troops, we're about halfway through the year and we're hitting our stride at Hades Airsoft. We're more or less on a video a month, which is where I want to be as a minimum for 2025. But remember, without that subscribe button, we can't do as much of this as we'd like to. So please, if you haven't already hit it, make sure to do that. It is free. We have got a lot more coming up through the rest of the year. We've got plenty more milsim, plenty more kit reviews, kit loadouts, riff reviews, so please stay tuned. Troops, thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you next time on the channel.
Okay, that was cool, guys. Obviously the outtakes there. Go and watch the actual video from those guys if you want to watch those, because then I'll leave you something to hanging on. Hades Airsoft, I think that was awesome. Like, it's actually like a lot of work's gone into that video where they're like testing and really doing going above and beyond, like, to actually give you more information. I'm going to look up now VFC UMP45. Let's see what it actually costs in the US. Here we go. Gas blowback SMG. Okay, so this is a very, very different price. I don't know why that's 250 euros and then it's $380 here. The mags are $65. So maybe that's just for some reason they're getting it at a lot cheaper price, and I can't imagine why. The mag capacity is 30 rounds. Yeah, so it's not a big mag for that, which is kind of annoying. 3.58 pounds, so it is light. yeah, so I like the review, guys. I thought that was really, really cool. So again, there'll be a link down below, channel and the video. But one thing I would say is I would have loved to have picked it up for that 200 euros, 250 euros. For $350, it's kind of like, then you're buying a full set of mags. You probably want at least 6 mags. I don't think I'm going to be buying it quite yet. But thank you guys so much. I will see you very soon on the next video. Goodbye.